My only controversial thought is, obviously PGs are investing heavily in building their own layers of redundancy, which is why they feel that they don't need somebody like a Juspay.
Now, Cashfree, PhonePe, and the other Razorpay taking a step back from the partnership, I don't think so it's gonna hamper Juspay's model.
What can the PGs do about it? Absolutely nothing.
Kunal, where after saying this, also did not give an offer to this guy, but decided to invest in his competitor's company and gave an offer to them.
I'm spending 1/6 of my time in just watching ads, and it's pathetic.
The world is marching towards AGI and we are funding astrology startups. I have an insider news.
There's a problem being solved. Strive for an AGI earns close to 1.5% of the entire value. India is not even close to that in the payments market.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Indian Startup Desktop. Let's go.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello everybody, how are you doing?
If you're watching us for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel below. Anyway, let's start off with some funny shit from this week. Weekly ritual. Me after
Me after not contributing on Indian Startup Desktop.
That's up. That's up.
What people with only idea and zero execution sound like. Are you a hacker? I have half the bank account and give me 50%. We both get profit. How is idea? Hi, hi. Don't use my idea.
the last the last line is too funny.
Okay.
Does he work at Stealth?
Okay. Let's move on to another funny thing that we came across this week. OpenAI engineers browsing the R team section of the DeepSeek and recognizing their ex-girlfriends.
Oh god.
I saw a tweet which said DeepSeek can be a killer name for a sick baby now.
Uh,
Oh. For those of you who
no, no.
don't know,
There are.
for those of you who don't know, DeepSeek is this Chinese LLM that's been getting a lot of popularity just because of how well it's performing against some of the existing AI models.
Okay, let's move on to a personal update from my end. So I've been jobless for the last 4 5 months. I've been trying to figure out my own stuff. Excited to announce in true cringe LinkedIn fashion that I'm joining Dodo Payments as the chief of staff. Okay, let's
Cut,
move on
cut.
to our weekly feed, AstroTech and AGI. Pawan, I know you'll have a lot of thoughts about this. The world is marching towards AGI, and we are funding astrology startups. No hope for India. 6 million seed round for astrology startups today is a big joke. Pawan, let's start off with you. What are your thoughts on
I,
this?
I don't think so. It's bad. If astrology is getting you more money than AGI or higher confidence in building astrology than AGI, then go ahead invest in it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all going on cycles, right? Right now, like people have, I think, so started believing in astrology, which used to be a case like some 100 years before. 100 years ago, people were not believing in AGI, but now people have started believing in AGI because that is becoming a reality. Maybe 100 years down the line, people again will start believing in astrology. Who knows? It's all cycles.
Yeah, I read somewhere that astrology is the Web3 and crypto of India.
But
Look at the
isn't
Pats,
this
dude. Which AGI startup from India or AI startup from India has good as Pat as AstroTalk?
Yeah. I agree.
dude? This is not just an astrology company; it's an AI astrology
Of
company.
course.
Astro.ai.
Best of both worlds.
Of course. So that I think people are adding this AI word also so that people don't come and question you saying why are you not investing in more tech infrastructure when the world is moving towards that. Okay, let's move on.
Okay. The best D2C brands. The two best brands to have been built in the last 5 to 6 years are undoubtedly Whole Truth and Minimalist. Clearly defined, stuck to the core promise, and can easily extend to adjacent categories. No wonder they are valued at 7 to 8 of revenue, often higher than peers. Guys, before you even comment on this, what are your favorite D2C brands?
I am a very, very big minimalist user. I literally use their products. I love their products. Whole Truth
Why
is
is your skin
nice.
so shit?
My skin is not shit at all. You should have seen me in college, brother. I've come a long way. But also on the protein side, while Whole Truth is nice, I'm gonna go out of my way and talk about this brand Fit Feast that one of my friends is actually building, and they are creating some great, protein butter, peanut butters, protein bars, protein chips. So go, please do check them out.
Interesting.
Pavan?
I used to be a big fan of this brand called as Bewakoof for their explicit marketing, and they used to put themselves out. I don't think so. The brand is doing great right now. But while I was in college, this was one of those brands which was pre D2C
Oh,
era,
Bewakoof is
doing
about to
really
turn
well, great
profitable, actually.
revenues.
I read recently somewhere,
Oh, okay.
just a couple of weeks ago, that Bewakoof is on their way to finally becoming a profitable business after like being there for the last decade or so.
Interesting. Their story was also very good. Like they started that company because they brought this domain for like some hefty amount, thinking that they can sell that domain,
Hmm,
bewakoof.com, but no one wanted to buy it. So they started the brand themselves.
interesting. Pete, what
That's
about
very
you? What's your favorite brand?
Dude, I like Whole Truth a lot. I like their cereal and I like their protein bars. Although I hate the packaging for Whole Truth. I'm not sure why that's there. But yeah, I think these are probably my favorite brands.
Hmm. But yeah, massive outcomes. Like Minimalist started like almost what, less than 6, 7 years ago, and yeah, I think it's just a
It's
massive
not
outcome.
about those 6, 7 years ago. Look at that founder's profile. He has
Yeah,
been at it for 2004.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
That's the timeline you have to actually consider, not the 6, 7 years.
That's fair.
Yep. So guys, working hard is also as important as working smart. I know Pavan won't agree.
Okay, on this note, let's look at what's next.
Okay. Moving on to the story of the week, Juspay versus payment gateway. Now, a payment gateway, you've all interacted with the payment gateway. Let's say you're making a purchase on an e-commerce website. The platform you use to make a payment, whether it's cards, UPI, net banking, etc., is powered through a payment gateway. Now, popular payment gateways are the likes of Razorpay, Cashfree, PhonePe, Plural, etc., etc. Now, Juspay is an orchestration layer on top of payment gateways. Now, every large e-commerce business works with multiple payment gateways to route traffic to, let's say, a Razorpay, a PhonePe, a Cashfree, etc. Now, Juspay absorbs that complexity and does the orchestration on their behalf. And this is a huge story for this week. And guess whose post blew up, guys?
Woohoo! Patty!
So basically, the TLDR is that payment gateways are sick and tired of working with Juspay because Juspay, being an orchestrator, they have complete transparency and view of how much traffic each merchant is routing through each payment gateway, and no company wants that. Saksham, what are your quick thoughts? Very good thoughts. Can you now unmute and please speak,
Oh my god. Let me go first until
please?
Saksham joins. I do feel Juspay has built that resilience, a crazy business model, and their power to demand a transaction fee for every transaction that happens through that platform. When government has mandated that UPI should be free, where 90% of transactions happening on UPI are free, their way of monetizing it as a TSP, which is a technological service provider player, right, was commendable. They found a niche. They found that success rates are a big issue. They found value in solving for customer for a better experience, and they charge for the value. Now, cash free, phone pay, and the other Razorpay taking a step back from the partnership, I don't think so it's gonna hamper Juspay's model because Juspay has already built that value on great experience from customer perspective. Now, what can people do is they can take keys, the API keys from a cash free or a Razorpay and directly configure that on Juspay dashboard. I think so that's where it will lead to, because at the end customers can't say that I will only use a Razorpay, I'll only use a cash free. It's a free country, people can choose to use more than one product. Justpay also has to offer this because it's their customers preference to do that. So I think so the seamlessness in onboarding will be hampered. The expenses might slightly go up, but over an overall perspective, I think so nothing's gonna change from Justpay's revenue numbers. It's what my belief is, but I might be wrong as well. The new products from Razorpay and Cashfree in these lines, they might also like completely change the market over a period of time.
So yeah, Pawan, I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but it's also important to note that Juspay has been preparing for this for a long time, right? Razorpay and Cashfree both launched their payment orchestration services a couple of years back. It's just that now the drumbeat is getting stronger and stronger. Look, another way to look about this is that no, while payment gateways like a Razorpay or a Cashfree or a PhonePe are part of the entire money movement from a customer's account to the merchant's account and settlements and everything that happens in between. JustPay operates as a pure tech company, like you mentioned, as a TSP. Now, why is a tech company charging BIPS based pricing, which is percentage pricing on the transaction to their merchants, and not a flat fee or a SaaS based pricing model? I think that's also an interesting revelation that JustPay needs to take a look at. What do you think, Pawan?
Yeah, fair. Maybe business models are built over a period of time, and business models which give you enough which are enough cash cows, right? They only get changed when there is a disruption. If something is working well, if it's getting more revenue to you, if you're not getting competed enough, why do you even change it? Why do you even think of changing it? Now it'll be a level playing field, where a moat, like building a moat is hard, but sustaining a moat is more hard. It's the hardest thing. You can hold a moat for like 6 months, 12 months, but India being a very competitive market, there will be 10 people who will be trying to do the same thing, taking the price down, making it a commodity over a period of time. So that's what will happen in this market now.
Yeah, so Juspay's also come out with a brilliant post talking about this in detail.
I
Merchants' freedom
really
of
like
choice.
this. It's
I
just
I love
Juspay can do
this.
that, and they can come out and say that, guys, please stop talking about us on forums. We will give our side of take here. You don't need to discuss and take our takes on your behalf. That's an
Yeah.
interesting thing to do.
Look at this. Factual corrections. Merchants pay us for our software as it provides them value. We have no dependence on these PAs for this revenue. Hence, the statement about these PAs contributing to our revenue is invalid. For the last 12 years, we
Exactly.
have forged deep partnerships with leading merchants working as their extended payments team, providing technology to simplify payment operations, providing deep payment domain expertise, and collaborating with them on long term ecosystem initiatives. This is such a killer post.
All right. Great. Juspay is an amazing company. I've been a fanboy of what work they put out as well. Uh, Big strength to them. Razorpay, Cashfree, PhonePe, all these people are also doing great. But at the end, merchant should win. Whoever provides the best product, best experience, best pricing, let
Yeah,
them win.
the bottom line is this: if merchants tell these payment gateways like Razorpay, Cashfree, and PhonePe that, bro, we are not moving away from JustPay, nor we don't want to move away from JustPay, what can the PGs do about it? Absolutely nothing. And I'm already hearing that JustPay has been convincing merchants to push back against these payment gateways for this very same reason. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out in the next couple of months and maybe a couple of years as well.
Yeah, can you
But
hear me
one
now?
outcome of Hey Saksham,
Finally,
welcome back.
Saksham is back. Saksham, what
Okay.
are your thoughts on the
Yes.
JustPay versus
So I
PG
heard
debate?
everything. I don't know, my mic was not working. So let me just. I was actually interestingly talking to a very large OTT platform yesterday, and they use JustPay as one of their orchestrators, right? And the first question that I asked them is, okay, now with obviously this whole debacle about JustPay and PGs, how is that impacting your business? And he did mention that JustPay has reached out and they're already trying to figure out things to minimize some of the loss that might happen, because it was Juspay who was actually managing all this orchestration between a Razorpay, Cashfree, PhonePe, and Yes Bank. So these are some of the major banks and PGs that they're working with. So yes, I think this is going to impact Juspay's business. I think Pawan, you mentioned earlier that it might not have a huge impact, and it's the merchants who might end up suffering for this. But I also think Juspay is under risk from a business perspective, and they really have to figure out some of these guardrails to ensure that business continuity is maintained. Otherwise, there are a lot of other TSPs also in the market, and it gives them a great opportunity now to go and directly work with some of these merchants if they were earlier not working with Juspay. So I think it's also a great opportunity, and market has now suddenly become wide open for anybody to come in and have a say in it.
I have an insider news. So some of my friends at PhonePe, Cashfree, and Razorpay have told me that there has been meetings between the leadership team of these 3 to 5 companies on figuring out how can we all build open source orchestration platforms so that merchants don't have to rely on JustPay at all. Look, it's not like merchants love JustPay as a company. I mean, sure, I'm sure they do, but what they actually love about the value that they're providing is that they orchestrate handling multiple PGs together. Now, if these PGs can join hands and figure out a way to make that happen without an official orchestrator like Juspay, do you think merchants are going to care about that? Pavan, what are your thoughts?
I think so. It's great for merchants, great for customer. As a customer, I love it. But I don't know. For some reason, India always has that crab mentality of pulling back someone who is doing really well, and the entire ecosystem stays slower only. Look at US as an ecosystem. For a payment, there's a problem being solved. Stripe or an ATM earns close to 1.5% of the entire value. India is not even close to that in the payments market. Most of the things are free. There are so many players, highly competitive business. What is this enabling? Is like we are just making payments a commodity. And these steps are also in the same direction. If you make what JustPay has made over the last 4 5 years, an open source project, and if PGs put money into it, where is the value being built? Sure, merchants gonna save money. As customers will end up paying less money, but as a whole, payment sector is gonna suffer. The innovations in that sector are gonna get curtailed. The number of people would be motivated to build new products in that domain are gonna be less in near future. I think so. There needs to be a fair monetization policy for each of these things with customer experience in place. That's my thought.
Saksham, quick thoughts. Let's close this segment.
My only controversial thought is, obviously PGs are investing heavily in building their own layers of redundancy, which is why they feel that they don't need somebody like a JustPay. But the other thought is, but if the PGs control both the orchestration layer as well as the payment flows, right? Merchants lose a lot of flexibility. So in some sense, are we heading toward like a walled garden model wherein all these payment gateways will just consolidate everything? So that's like my big worry, and only time will tell, sort of where the industry goes.
Yeah, like one quick thought on this, right? And this is probably like my last thought. Uh, I think it's also unfair for these payment gateways when they look at JustPay because payment gateways are under the PAPG guidelines by the RBI. So they have a lot of regulatory compliance. They have built basically deep partnerships with banks, with NPCI, with multiple entities around them. And when they see an orchestration platform like JustPay, who's kind of giving the final value add to the merchants, but not under any regulations, not under immense regulatory pressure to do anything to make things better, it just makes it a little unfair for them. And that's probably why PGs realize that hey, what JustPay is doing is something we can all figure out to do if we just join hands. And that's probably what is going to happen over the next couple of months. Okay,
Awesome. Let's move.
let's move to Shark Tank Corner. This is a new segment in our episode. He has been sending updates to Kunal Bal for 14 years. In fact, let's just play the video.
Yes. Wow. You have a sharp memory. आपकी एक बहुत अच्छी चीज मेरे को जो लगी है पिछले 14 सालों में आप फ्रीक्वेंटली अपने अपडेट्स भेजते हैं और मैं सारे अपडेट पढ़ता हूँ उससे
Nice.
मैं
That's crazy, dude. This is
Yeah, damn
the
nice.
moral of the story is please keep sending updates, every week or every month. You might feel like it is not doing anything, but naturally it keeps adding on, and there is some goodwill being built, for you somewhere.
For sure. I
Yeah,
fully agree to
sure.
this. Yeah.
But the interesting part of this pitch was Kunal Bal also went on. So this was a competitive pitch. So there were two startups who pitched the same kind of product to everyone, and startups had a decision to make whether they want to invest in A or B. Both startups were in the different phases of growth, so on and so forth. But Kunal Bal, after saying this, also like did not give an offer to this guy, but decided to invest in his competitor's company and gave an offer to them, which they also rejected. It's a different thing, but which
Okay.
goes on the contradictory side that doesn't matter that how many times you follow, how many times you keep at it. If the investor doesn't want to invest in you, he'll not invest in you. That's it.
Look at the founder's reply. Very less people understand the power of compounding in their lives, be it with money, skills, or relation. Mostly it's boring, needs discipline, lot of grit, as you will fail slash give up. For a lot of successful people I know, overnight success took a decade.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's fair.
We discussed this 3 times in this episode only. With
Yeah.
Wingify.
Okay, let's
Uh,
move on then to one of the most popular Shark Tank pitches over the last couple of weeks. Good influencer, terrible entrepreneur. Gaurav Taneja's brand did worse on Shark Tank than on their own launch day. I've always thought of Shark Tank India gave startup wings, but Sony OTT moves slowed them down. Bold moves are great, but when you trade reach for subscriptions, it's a bad call. Sheesh, this is crazy. But guys, have you watched
Yeah.
this episode of
Yeah.
Gaurav Taneja? What are your quick thoughts?
Yeah. I feel I don't know, like sharks were actually asking Gaurav about, okay, tell us about how do you make money being an influencer? How much money do you make? And obviously, Gaurav was resistant on sharing some of his thoughts, on like a public platform, and he was given a lot of flack for it. And I don't think that's needed as such. I don't think it should be tied to the sort of capital that you're trying to invest. So I don't think transparency can be tied back to some of this. So yeah, that's just my initial thoughts on the transparency bit. Pavan, why don't you go ahead?
Let's
I,
do some
I,
research.
I for some reason did feel that the Sharks got into a zone of competitiveness with Gaurav
Hi, Pete.
Taneja.
Pete, what are you up to?
Go on, Pawan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically, I feel they just wanted to see how much is he making, how much are influencers making. Because sharks are also these people or characters who have recently found out that they can make a hell lot of more money by just being influencers. Because these sharks are also essentially influencers now. They see them him as competitor, is what I felt. They are asking him his personal income numbers. They are
Yeah,
asking
exactly.
legitimate income numbers. How does that matter? And at the end, they are saying that we will only give you funding if you will be in one business. Tell me either of those sharks who are sitting there, are they only involved in one business? They are also doing 10 business at the same time. Elon
Yeah.
Musk does 20 business at the same time. Bill Gates does 100 business at the same time. Are they not successful?
Yeah,
So
this is
these, I don't
actually
think so.
no, but
Hypocrite
this trend has
mentality.
actually been happening in US Shark Tank also, Pawan. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Hmm.
investors feel that, bro, if I'm giving money to you to run your business, and on the side you are basically promoting yourself, how will I believe that you're going to be using money in the most efficient manner possible? Because
Yeah.
ultimately, if I put money, in a company, I want the founder of the company to focus on maximizing my returns rather than going
Hmm.
on socials and basically promoting his business, his brand, and every other thing that comes with it. While I don't disagree with you, I think this is a conundrum that a lot of investors also deal with. Pavan, Aksham, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with you. The other big thing that I think we should be talking about is what is Sony up to? Like cutting out, YouTube and just making it OTT. And the worst part is you pay 1,500 rupees for a subscription of, I think, Sony Live, if I'm not wrong, and you still get ads. Like I do not want to see ads if I'm a paid user, and it's 1 minute ads after every 5 minutes. So if I'm watching a 30-minute episode, I'm spending 1/6 of my time in just watching ads, and it's pathetic.
Yeah.
Also, I agree, like it's really not working well for a lot of the founders who actually come to Shark Tank for just a lot of visibility and reach. And as this post
Yeah.
says, that reach has gone down from massive 700 million to like a meager 20-30 million, and that's like almost like a 95% drop, which is so horrible for and so sad for a lot of the entrepreneurs coming on Shark Tank this season.
Yep. Yep.
I'm pretty sure there'll be a strategy revisit. Probably they'll release this
I mean,
episode
they have to.
slightly later.
They're also getting a lot of hate for this, and rightfully so, in my opinion. Awesome.
Awesome. That's it from this week's episode of the Indian Startup Desktop. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so below. See you next week. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. See you.
Pause. Saksham, can you keep your mic a little away from you? I
Yeah,
can hear
it
your breathing.
is. Your breathe is also like very obnoxiously recorded.
It's like,
Seriously?
yeah.
Now
Yeah.
this Karan will add this in bloopers.
Oh, yo. Better.
It only comes out when you are doing all that. Why were you doing that? I don't know.